G'day, Geoff Lewis here from Seriously Series, and you join us here in Sydney. Now, we're here a couple days earlier before heading off to the four-wheel drive adventure show, and we're stopping here to catch up with our good friends at KLR Automotive. Now, these guys know Land Rovers like nothing else, and they've got some really special Land Rovers here for you and I to have a look at, but they've got a heck of a lot of spare parts to back it up. So as always, you know exactly what to do. Grab yourself a brew or something slightly stronger, sit back, relax, but most importantly, stay tuned. So one company that's been keeping our Land Rover Perentie going out into the back and beyond and back again is KLR, but it's actually my good friend Brad here. You're the one who I talked to on the phone, and somehow the parts get over to Western Australia, Brad. I don't know how you do it.
Or couriers.
Oh, couriers, there we go, there we go. But there's some incredible Land Rover Perenties here, but a few spare parts too, Brad?
Yeah, we've got a bit of stuff.
You've got a bit of stuff? Yeah. Could we go have a look at some of these Land Rover?
We might have some special vehicles to look at.
Oh, cool, no worries. Right, so we've only made it a couple metres in the door, Brad. What have we got here?
Well, this is actually a sort of job we quite like doing here. Even though it looks a little bit military, this is actually about a 92, 93 Defender with a 200 TDI.
Okay.
And the eagle-eyed amongst your viewers would see the snorkel here on the left-hand side, which all the TDIs had.
Yeah.
And this actually came in as quite an old, faded vehicle. It had been sitting around for many years, essentially being dragged out of a shed and dragged into here.
Yeah.
The paint was quite faded. In fact, we couldn't even identify the exact colour of the paint until we had our professional buffer come in, and he worked his magic, and you know, you can see now it looks like new paintwork on it.
Is this actually the original paint?
That's the original paint, and It has come up $1 million.
It really has.
So we had our decal guy redo a set of stickers for it, just copy the original ones, so that's a reproduction on there, and again, just set it off nicely.
Wow.
And then the next step, we pulled all the body cappings off. You can see there a bit of surface rust still, but obviously there was a budget attached to this, but we just got all that blasted and powder coated, and he wanted to convert it to a soft top like the military Perenties. So we've put a ROPS on front and rear.
Wow.
We're still finishing that off at the moment. We'll fit seats to the rear of it and a custom-made canopy to go on, and we'll call that job done.
Far out, that's amazing. And this is a lot more heavy duty than the hood sets you get from... Yeah.
Correct. Because we're putting seats in the back, we want to give a fair bit of rollover protection, and that keeps the engineers happy as well.
It does, it does. And these are obviously pulled out of Land Rover Perentie?
Correct.
Yep, so that's the roll cage or the roll bar that's usually behind the seat?
Correct.
And then you've just fitted another one here?
Yep.
Wow, wow. And so, as you said, it's a 200 TDI. Is it pretty much bulk standard underneath? Have you changed anything?
The only thing we've done underneath so far is we've put on a set of the Wolf rims with slightly larger tyres. He wanted that beefier look.
Yep.
We've fitted the wider flares to it to cover up that tyre and keep it all legal.
Yep.
And we like these flares here. They look original from a distance. There's no external holes. They're nice and neat.
Yep.
And then the only other thing, actually, if you come around the back here.
Yeah.
He really wanted the half slide opening door.
Right.
Some might say it's a bit of sacrilege, but we cut the original rear end door down, made up a new capping for it, got that powder coated, and mounted that with a spare wheel carrier.
Far out. Well, I've bought quite a few series Land Rovers over the years, as you know, and I've seen this cut off down to here, and then the other top, you know, slides. Yeah. So it's all been done before.
Oh, it has, and we get asked for this quite a bit. For some reason, people like the side opening door.
So with KLR, this is quite a specialty project. Is this one side of the business, Brad, that you tend to do?
This is actually, we're running this through the normal workshop. It's because really, there's not really any specialised bodywork going on here, and there's no paintwork involved. It's basically just been stripping the cappings off. The buffer did his bit, powder coating. So no, this is a relatively straightforward job.
I just love how that just rolls off the tongue, Brad.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so easy, you know, because when you think of like a mechanical workshop, it's an oil change.
Correct.
Air filter.
Yeah.
But KLR's more than that, as we can see here.
Yeah.
But I can see some other ones over here, Brad. Can we go have a look at those?
I can see you're itching to.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Here, Brad, this to me just looks like a FFR, is that right?
Yeah, it's actually a little, well, yes, you are correct, Geoff, but it is a little bit more than that. This is actually the young veterans Perentie that Jock and 24/7 just took to the Cape.
That's right.
So,
yeah, okay. Wow.
It's just come back to us for a little bit of TLC and a little bit of prep work before it goes down to the show as well. Actually, it'll be down there with the 24/7 team.
Yeah, right. So how, to be honest, how did it fare on the trip after doing the service?
It did very, very well. It did incredibly well.
Now, would you expect anything less from a Land Rover? No, you wouldn't, would you?
And certainly not from a Perentie.
Not from a Perentie.
No, so the only thing is we've actually just had the starter motor apart. It looked like it got a little bit of water in there, but we've just cleaned that out and re-greased it, and you can see young Tommy there putting that back in.
He's working hard, isn't he?
We did a couple of bushes underneath, but really other than that, it's come home unscathed.
That's amazing.
That's what we expect.
Went through some pretty deep rivers up there, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one of the great things with these Land Rover Perenties over other four-wheel drive vehicles. As you know, Brad, you've got the breather tubes going all the way up to the top of the actual bonnet itself.
Yep.
So you've got to get in some pretty deep water before you start, you know, sucking water into the transmission and differentials.
Correct, but they're also just a classic example of a simple, well-built vehicle.
That's it.
They're simple. There's almost nothing to go wrong.
No, and the 4BD1 is, it's as simple as you can get.
Yeah, best engine ever built.
It is. But there's even more Land Rovers. We got distracted by this one, but we're slowly getting over to more over here. So keep on. That's wow, that's something else. But anyway, look. What's this one we've got here, Brad?
Well, that's a little bit of interesting military history, actually. That's one of the SRV models. They didn't make too many of those.
No, I haven't seen one before.
And a lot of the ones that are coming out of auction, they didn't actually have a VIN on them, so they can't be registered. But this is one of the lucky ones that did have a VIN and is registered.
So you can drive this on the road?
Correct, yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Be a good commuter.
I think the novelty would wear off a little bit.
Yeah, it would.
It's a little bit breezy there in winter.
It would. So what is the difference between this and a Land Rover Perentie 110, the more common variant?
Fundamentally not much. They're the same engine, same gearbox, same drivetrain, but they've got a few bits and pieces. Like you can see straight away, they've got a split windscreen, so the passenger side could be folded down. They normally had a 30 cal mounted on the passenger side with a special gunner seat that lifted up about 300 millimetres.
Yep.
They also had the facility in the back there. What looks like a rollover bar is actually a mount for a gun ring. So, so they could put another gun up on the back there.
Yep.
More often than not, they had smoke grenade launchers fitted on the front here.
Yep.
So it's a more specialised sort of equipment like that, used by reconnaissance groups, really.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. And the motor in this is obviously the Isuzu 4BD1.
Correct.
Is that turbocharged?
Nope.
Just as is?
That's all the same for a normal Perentie under there.
Are we talking about Armstrong steering or hydraulic?
These actually had power steering fitted. That was the one concession that they did make to a little bit of comfort.
That's pretty plush.
You don't like to see too much of that.
Yeah.
And they also, like most of the recon vehicles, they ran split rims as well. Cause
right.
The theory is that they're easier to change, but they're not really.
No, they're not, from your experience.
Have you ever changed one?
I haven't, knock on wood, because I own Land Rovers and they don't have split rims. And I know I've worked in exploration for about 12 years or more, but I've been able to get away from the Land Cruiser ones, thank goodness. But wow, what a vehicle. Now, obviously we've got 2 spare tyres either side. The fuel tanks in these are a bit bigger than your standard GS or 110 Perentie?
No, on this model they just ran twin fuel tanks. So there's a fuel tank under the passenger seat and a fuel tank under the driver's seat.
And they're, what, 67 litres each?
Roughly, yeah.
Roundabout.
They've got about 120 litres of diesel on board.
Yep.
And they put for starting, they actually put a little Odyssey battery down in the back toolbox. So a tiny little battery jammed in there. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And obviously the camouflage scheme's a bit different too, Brad.
I think that varied depending on where they were going. So I think this particular vehicle may have gone to Afghanistan, although we haven't been able to track down any history on this. The owner of it, I think, is busily doing that because this vehicle's it will be going into a private collection. So, but there's a few of these out there in Australia now, but they are a unique vehicle and certainly have some value as a collector's vehicle. Oh,
definitely. And what fun driving a vehicle around like this, particularly with the front windscreen folded down too. Now, is it a 110 variant over here of the same?
Well, what we've actually got parked in there and it's jammed in there a little bit is its big cousin, really. So that's a 6-wheel drive long-range patrol vehicle. That's right.
There's quite a few Land Rovers here. It's easy to lose track. Right, so how does that differ again to this? That's got the long-range fuel tanks in it and all the rest?
Yeah, so they carried about 200 litres of diesel. Again, they carried, I actually think they carried 4 spare wheels. They did run the turbocharged motors, and they all had tricked up turbos and intercoolers fitted to them to give them a little bit more poke. They carried a lot of weight, so they were designed as a true long-range vehicle. They all carried a motorbike on the back for extra activities and similar armament, so they would have had a gun on the passenger side and another one up on the roof.
Far out, that's incredible. That's incredible. And they're a big vehicle. That's what we were chatting about off camera, you know, the 6x6, because I think the Transport, they had like a 4 or 5 tonne payload that they could take on the back, or?
So these vehicles, they gross at 5.9 tonne, and certainly I think they did nudge that by the time you put fuel, water, ammo, rations, packs. I think they had detachments of 4 guys on there, plus a motorbike. It's a lot of weight very quickly. And you're right, they're a big, heavy vehicle. They're wider than a normal 110. They're longer than a normal 110. You've got a 3rd axle under there as well.
And we know with Defender 110s and also the 109-inch series Land Rovers that you don't have a turning circle. You have a turning oval. And this one here, well, I think...
Worse again.
I think the moon's actually smaller in diameter than the turning circle.
They are truly terrible.
Yeah. So these are things you have to sort of think about when you're actually buying one of these vehicles. They are fun and they're great fun, and I love my Perentie, and I know you love Perenties too, Brad. But there is sort of a practical aspect that we have to sadly be a bit boring and a bit realistic with. You know,
and I think it also depends on what you want to do with it. So vehicles like these are obviously collector vehicles, so they only get dragged out a couple of times a year. But but of course, I've got a lot of people that are using a more normal 6x6 as a long-range touring vehicle, and they're quite good for that. You've got plenty of space, plenty of low capacity. You know, again, they're simple, they're strong, they're quite economical with a load on, so they tick all those boxes. But you are certainly giving up some creature comforts.
Oh, definitely. But you know, it's miles per miles, isn't it? That's what it all comes down to. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of Land Rover Perenties out the front here, Brad. But there's obviously, we've talked about the Defender 110 over there too. Can you tell us a little bit about KLR? Because it's not all about just Perenties, is it?
No, and well, we actually began the business long before the Perenties came onto the market. But when they did come out, my partner Matt and I were both fans of the Isuzu motor, so we sort of grabbed hold of the Perenties as a bit of a niche market for us, and it's, you know, and it's gone well for us. It's allowed us to grow into the premises that we have now. And in fact, you're standing on the border between the parts division and the workshop division.
I have, I'm trying not to run off camera at this stage, and I'm not just saying that.
But certainly, we have made a name for ourselves in the Perentie market, but we do all things Land Rover. So we sell a lot of parts for the older series vehicles, and we've got a couple of series vehicles out in the car park there.
That you do,
as we do. And we sell quite a bit for the Discovery ones. Have quite a following because they're a cheap, good off-road vehicle now.
That they are.
So you know, a very good option for a young P-plater to get into off-roading. They get a very, very good vehicle off the showroom floor, sort of thing. You don't really need to spend that much on suspension and what have you, but everybody wants to do that. And we also do a lot of parts for the more, you know, the later model Range Rover Sports, the Disco 4s and the like. So we try to cover everything Land Rover, particularly from the parts side.
And you've also got a little bit on the Japanese front also covered too, don't you?
Yeah, well, one thing we have been sort of dipping our toe into in the last couple of years is moving into predominantly Suzuki parts, and that's working quite well for us. And so who knows where that's going to end up down the track.
Yeah, no worries. Wow, this is just a few spare parts here, Brad?
Yeah, we keep about 3,000 product lines in stock.
Far out. Gosh, I could have some fun here. But, are these... they axles for the Salisbury?
Yeah, so they're the heavy-duty maxi drive rear axles, so they're actually made up on the Gold Coast. We sell a lot of those.
Really?
Yeah, very, very good product, good name, good product, simple, cost-effective, and made in Australia.
Wow.
We really like selling stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because metallurgically, these are a bit different to the standard ones, aren't they?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Much better material, much closer tolerances on the machining, just simply better all round.
Yeah. And obviously on this end here we have the drive shaft or the drive flange.
Yep, correct.
And obviously you can get the maxi drive versions of those too, which stops them flogging out. Which
solves all that problem.
They all do. Yep. Oh man, I'm a kid in a candy store here. Now, what is this, Brad? I don't think I've seen this one in your catalogue before.
It's very easy for people to think that we're just another parts seller for Land Rover parts, and to a degree we are, but because we sit in a little bit of a niche area with, we have our own workshop over there, and you've seen some of the work we do there, that's allowed us over the years to develop some kits, you know, or particular products to solve issues or to offer upgrades, performance upgrades, modifications. So what you've got there is the exhaust manifold that we produce for the turbo kit on the 4BD1s in the Perenties.
Wow.
It's been very, very successful, very good kit, very easy to fit, and a great power upgrade and a great economy upgrade as well.
Definitely. It looks like it's tune length too, so you're getting an even flow of exhaust.
Strictly speaking, no, but it is better flow.
Look, it's better than what they come out with. And look, that's the thing too. The 4BD1 is quite a sort of unique motor for the Land Rover.
Yes.
You know, and there's not a lot of spare parts getting generated now, so this kind of engineering is absolutely critical to keep these vehicles going.
Well, to a large degree, we're on our own in Australia with that motor in a Land Rover.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only place it was produced.
Yep.
And so a big part of our work is, you know, sourcing parts to ensure ongoing repairs for these vehicles as they get a bit older.
Yeah. Now, obviously, that's to do with the motor, but also you offer some other upgrades for the Land Rover Perentie.
Yeah, so one of the original kits we did was the power steering, which again is a very, very good thing. In fact, the number1 mod for a Perentie, so if you're thinking of buying one, put that at the top of your budget list. Power steering, you need it. A very simple kit to fit. We source the parts for it. Some parts we actually have to get manufactured. But we also go a bit further. We do disc brake kits for them. We do silicon radiator hose kits, service kits. So again, because of what we do in the workshop, we know what these vehicles need. We know what the boys there need every day to maintain these vehicles, you know, to basically keep our customers happy, and we sell those same kits to the public.
But that's the difference with KLR Automotive. Like, every Land Rover spare parts or mechanical firm has their own unique take, but you're obviously engineering your own specialised kits to keep these vehicles going well into the future, which is just fantastic. That's what we want, more Land Rovers on the road. So it's absolutely awesome. But look, thank you so much for showing us around here, Brad. We're going to have a look at some more stuff in another video, but yeah, it's been great to catch up and see some of these spare parts and more. Brad's going to obviously make sure I haven't got any in my backpack over there before I leave, because gosh, that just looks so good, Brad. I might take that.
And while you're here, come and have a look down here.
Oh, there's more.